Hi there and welcome to today's tutorial on aerial photographs. We're going to look at settlement on aerial photographs and ways to identify different types of settlement on aerial photographs. So when looking at settlement of aerial photographs, some ways you can identify ancient settlements are by if you can spot castles in the photographs, maybe some round towers, churches or some graveyards. So if you see any of these four things, this might indicate ruins of ancient settlement. Okay, so how to identify urban settlement? Well, many towns and cities begin where there's flat low-lying land because it's easier to construct roads and houses and infrastructure on flat low-lying land. In the past, many and still now, like many urban settlements are based around rivers because in the past people used rivers for transport, for washing, for food. So many big towns and big cities are built on or beside rivers. Bridge, because in the past a bridge might have been used as a bridging point. Also would have saved people having to travel right the way around maybe a river if they could just cross over the bridge. So this was an ideal place to build a town or a city. And many towns and cities are built along the coasts. So because of coastals, you can find a lot of settlements along the coasts. And maybe this was because of ports for importing and exporting goods. And if you find, if you look at settlement on aerial photographs, you can find some of these things by looking at the photograph, and this will indicate reasons why the town actually grew there and why it began in that place. So the next thing you need to be able to identify on aerial photographs is the functions of the urban settlement. Okay, and some places, some towns, some cities have more than one function. So if you're given an aerial photograph, an oblique or vertical, you may be asked to outline 3 or 4 functions of the town or the city. One of the functions you could say is commercial. So if you see any shops or a large shopping centre, this may indicate that it is one of the functions is commercial. Educational is the second one. This may be the presence of schools or universities or colleges that you can see in the picture. Industrial, this would be the presence of large industrial estates. The function may be agricultural, and this would be you will see flat low-lying lands, maybe some crops. Residential could be a function, but the presence of many houses. Tourism could be another function that you might see. This would be the presence of mountains, rivers, the sea, or anything that would attract tourists to an area. Transport might be another one. That'd be the presence of motorways, maybe a railway station, airports. Recreational could be another one, and that'd be the presence of sports fields or stadiums. Defence could be a function, if you see any castles or towers. So there's many functions that you can identify from any photograph, and you will usually be asked to identify maybe 2, 3, 4 different functions of an area. Okay, so I've just quickly jotted down some things that you can spot for each of them. But these are not all the things that you can spot. Like for a commercial, I said a shopping centre, but it might be that you spot a high street, it might be that you spot some business. So there's loads and loads of different things that you can spot. Same with education, I'll say schools, but it might be because there's colleges or universities or further education centres and so on. So there's many things that you can spot to enable it to be a function. Okay, another common question that can be asked on the Junior Certificate examination is, what is the dominant or the main economic activity present in the aerial photograph? Okay, so you'll have to say whether the main economic activity is primary, or if it's secondary, or it's tertiary. And you can do this by simply looking at the photograph and getting some clues that would be in the photograph. For example, if it's primary, there'll be a lot of presence of forests or agricultural lands, so flat low-lying land, animals, crops, many fields, rivers and seas for fishing. And if you find most of the photograph has this type of thing, then you can justify your answer by saying it's primary, and using those things to justify your answer. For secondary, if the main economic activity is secondary economic activities, that might be the presence of industrial estates and big roads, and ports and so on. And the last one, tertiary, you might be able to spot tertiary and justify your answer by saying if you see many types of services, so you might see schools, hospitals, churches, football pitches, green space and so on, businesses. And then you'd be able to justify your answer by saying those and saying that the dominant economic activity is tertiary. And another question you can be asked from the photograph is what time of year is it? Okay, and when it's asked the time of year, you just have to say whether you think it's summer or winter. For summer, you can tell by deciduous trees, because if the trees have all their leaves, and well, this might tell you that it might be summer. If there's loads of animals in the fields, that might be a good indication that it's summertime. And if there's plenty of crops, and fruit are in full blossoming, well, this can indicate that it's summertime. If it's winter, some indications might be there's no leaves on the deciduous trees, and there might be no animals in the fields, and there may be smoke coming from chimneys of houses. And just to let you know, the very last thing that I just want to point out to you is to know maybe the different types of houses that you can see in the aerial photograph. So example, like apartments, terrace houses. So a terrace house is when there's 3 or more houses attached together. A semi-detached house, that's when 2 houses are attached together. And a detached house is when a house is not attached to any other house, it's left by itself. So just be able to identify the difference between apartments, terrace houses, semi-detached and a detached house. Okay, so that's the end of today's. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a lot from the tutorial. And if you have, can you please leave me some feedback? I'd really appreciate some of the feedback that you give me. Just let me know if you enjoyed it, if you learned from it, if it helped you. And can you subscribe to our YouTube channel? So our YouTube channel is youtube.com/exam revision. And if you subscribe here, you can get all the latest videos that I post when I do post them. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Exam Revision for all our latest news. Thank you.